All right. Welcome to Talking with Todd podcast. I am your host, Todd Carter. I will talk to entrepreneurs, authors, business owners, and everyday people who are making a difference in their communities. Through heartfelt and intimate conversations, I will delve into life stories and experiences of my guests to showcase their excellence, share their journeys, and provide listeners with insight and inspiration of their own lives. Listeners will be taken on a journey as I explore the many facets of my guests' spiritual journeys and how it connects with their work, purpose in life, and contribution to society. To, Today on the show, we will have our special guest, Mikey.
Hello, hello.
All right, so she will be sharing her story with us today. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and support our podcast. So, let's jump right in. So, Mikey, tell my listeners how you became a life coach.
It kind of happened by default. I was always the person in the circle that everybody would come talk to and ask for advice. I'd be in the grocery store, or when I didn't have a car, I'd be at the bus stop or on the bus, and people would end up telling me their life story. So it just kind of took me, down that path because I felt like people were always talking to me anyway. So I might as well, go ahead and make something of it. And then I like helping people. So it kind of just made sense.
Okay. I also read where you are a herbalist. So, tell us how you became that too, because I think that's so fascinating.
Well, since I can remember, I've had this stomach issue. The furthest back I can remember is like 8 years old. I don't know what the problem is. I go back and forth to the hospital. The doctors tell me I have a gastrointestinal issue, but they can't really tell me how to fix it or anything like that. So um, I was already into herbs and nature and natural healing, so it just made me study it further. So I've been studying herbs for like over 10 years. And I started just trying to find ways to heal myself naturally. I don't really like taking over the counter medication. And there is a herb, a plant, a flower, something growing that can heal anything. So I just started delving into that, trying to heal myself. And that's what led me into it. And once I started, it just was so interesting. It's kind of, hard to stop.
So, do people just kind of like come to you asking for help in that area?
I have people in the herbalism field, you mean?
Hmm.
Yes, I have people come to me because I make teas, I make tonics, I make tinctures, I make body butters. I'm working on bath bombs just for, a little added, bonus. But yeah, they come to me with ailments, insomnia, anxiety. A lot of people come to me for teas for that, for those purposes. For body butters and salves for, like pain and things like that. So yeah, that's what people come to me for. And also I'm into healthy eating. I also study eating for your body, for not for your body type, for your blood type. My apologies. Because like I said, I was trying to heal myself. So I started looking into everything and researching. So, I talk to people about that as well if they want to, eat healthier or if they're having some kind of issue that the doctors can't seem to, figure out what it is, then I look into that type of, healing, herbal healing. I just really think that's the best way to go.
Absolutely. So, I, well, we've got my next question is for you to tell me about your podcast. But when I was listening to your podcast, I saw that. So, a lot of things that you were saying, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm going to have to ask her this because I have that. Like, but I don't want to share that right here.
Right. We can talk
But
behind the scenes, sis.
definitely, huh?
We can talk behind the scenes, sis.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because definitely, I was just like, you know what? I like. Well, one thing I share this now. I saw where what was the thing that you put on your eye? It was like eye gate, not eye gate. I
Eye
don't
bright.
know.
That's eye bright.
That's it. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ooh. I was like, I want that, because I've been having my eyes been doing something. I don't know. But
Okay.
anyway, so definitely want to talk to you about that. So let me get back on
Okay.
track here. I
I'm
will get
fine.
off track. All right.
Me too.
So
So
let's talk
let's keep
about
each
your
other on
what?
track.
Huh?
I
You
said
said
me
what?
too. So let's keep each other on track.
I know, right? Okay. So let's talk about your podcast and how did you come about doing that?
Okay, so my podcast is called Tell Your Friends with Mikey. And I put the podcast together because, for one, it's about I do life coaching tips and herb of the day on there where I highlight a herb every episode. And I'm also passionate about our community. So I also speak about things that negatively and positively affect our community. I just took the things that I was passionate about and I put them all together. I feel like we should be talking more about those types of things instead of I think unproductive is a good word for it, things that we do talk about. So I just wanted to create a space where people can come, get tips for healing themselves, whether it be mind, body, or spirit. I just want to be of service. I want to help people. So I felt like that was a good platform, a podcast, because I feel like your people will find you.
Absolutely. When I was listening, I was just like inspired. So let me just say this.
Thank
First of all,
you.
I just want to tell the listeners how I met you. I met Mikey in a chat room for podcasters. And when I tell y'all, we hit the ground running.
We did.
From from the moment I sent a message to her and we connected, it was just like I could feel her presence over the texting. And then I was just like, okay, call me on phone. Because by this time I'm just like, okay, no, we need to talk. Because I instantly just like hit it off with her in terms of like her spirit and how she was so open. And I was just like, okay, I have to have you on my show. And she was just like, okay, cool, I'm ready. And so she was just like, I have a testimony. And I was just like, okay, come on and tell what it is that you want to tell about yourself. um so yeah, so what do you want to tell my listeners about you?
I just feel like because I've been through a lot of things in my life, I'm writing an autobiography about it because every time I tell somebody a story, they're like, you need to write a book. I can't believe that. Like, I just feel like I know how it feels to be in that place where you don't know how to get out or you don't know how you got there. You don't even know how you feel, but you don't feel right. I just know how that feels. And once I got up out of it, I just wanted to reach back and help people that are in that same position the best way that I can.
Right. That's one of the things that I've been noticing since I've been doing this particular podcast here. Just today, I had a woman, she just sat next to me. And before I know it, she was telling me her life story. And then she said, I want to be on your podcast. I want to tell it. So I know that people will come to you and just tell you stuff. And I don't know,
Mhm.
it's kind of like I keep saying, God, what are you doing in this moment? Because I don't even have to find, people to interview right now. It's just like they're just coming out of nowhere.
That's what
So,
happens when you walking in your purpose and you're doing what you're supposed to do. Things come easy. You don't have to try. You don't have to try to make things fit. It just is.
right. So I'm going to ask you, how did you find your purpose?
I found my purpose in being broken and having to come up out of it. And I've just always liked to help people in all my careers, I've always been of service. I've been a CNA, and anybody who's in the medical field knows that's the dirtiest job that you can have is being a CNA. But I've just always liked to help people. So I think that throughout my life, I've been working different jobs, trying to figure out where I fit. And I think I found where I fit. So, I mean, it was just like a trial and error thing, I think. And I got to the point to where this is it. I feel right. I feel comfortable. Like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. My passion is helping people, and it makes me feel good knowing that I've helped somebody along in their journey.
Right. And definitely when you mention about just, being broken and stuff like that, me myself, I know that I have, and as I'm learning things now, it's just like, and I don't think people like to admit when they're broken. I think we put on a mask, at least me, let me just talk about me, and we'll think that nothing's wrong, or we don't want to, we'll know something's wrong, but we don't want to say it out loud. Like
Right.
it's kind of like if we admit it, then
It's a
we
weakness.
yeah, or we just let somebody know something about us that we was trying to hide. And I'm noticing that with me, it's like I get on here and I tell stuff that I normally, because I'm so private, but I really am. So this
I'm the
whole
opposite.
podcast thing, huh?
I'm the complete opposite.
Really, no, I'm private. So
Well, it
like,
depends, I guess.
but now it's just with this and what I'm sharing and things like that. I know that, what I'm sharing is going to help somebody. So I don't have to hide behind, yes, I have moments where I feel, broken. I was just talking to a person today, and which I had got upset with them about something, and just my expectations of what I felt like they should be to me, it just didn't. I was just wanting her to be way up here, and I had to just meet her where she was, depending on things that she'd been through. She's a young person. She's about 25, so I can't expect for a 25-year-old to act like a 51-year-old. So we were just
Right.
talking about, and it took one of my other friends to just have a conversation with me too, and kind of tell me some things. And as she said, you Tot Cartered her. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Okay. What
Yes.
does that mean?
Well, that
Mm-hmm.
just means,
You on the spot, huh, sis?
look, Mikey, I'm interviewing you. Okay.
Okay, okay, I'm
Well,
gonna stop.
well, basically what it meant was that she said I did everything but put the laid her out in a casket and make a
Oh,
shirt.
oh, and do the car wash.
Basically is what she said. So I took that as a place to grow.
Oh,
And I received it because she's a very close friend of mine that told me about it. And she said she just waited till the time where she can talk to me. And I appreciate having that conversation, because I think sometimes, we're not aware of how we're acting with people. It's like, we'll know. I know I have a mouth on me. I know that, I have a big personality. But it took my friend to just tell me, hey, no, you just didn't do that right. And this is what I thought in that moment, but I didn't say nothing to you about it because I know that I would have an opportunity to circle back around. And she did. And so I received it so well. We laughed, we joked about it. And I told her, I said, I'm going to handle that today. And I did. And I feel good because I think those are some of the things that you have to do,
hmm,
is to, if you're wrong about something, you have to go to that person and just say, hey, this is how it made me feel. And before I could even go ahead and apologize, she was like, I've already forgiven you. And she was just like, I understand why you felt that way. And I'm like, can I get it out, please? And she's like, yes.
like
She's
that. That's a nice relationship right there.
yeah,
Accountability.
yeah, right. So that's what I'm learning. I'm just learning to um, look at things different. As before, I wouldn't. If I cut you off, I cut you off. And I'm learning that you just cannot always, you know, maneuver like that.
Right. I had to go through that too. In my in my healing and in my journey, I had to relearn and learn that as well.
So tell me one of the things that you are most proud of in terms of, because it looks like, and I always say about myself that I just came to a place in my life where I had to reinvent myself. I had lost a job that I had had for like 14 years. And
Mm.
so that's what made me go back to school to, seek a degree. And I did. So just tell me about some things that you have done to just kind of like reinvent yourself or just get to where you are today.
First, I had to totally break myself all the way down and be vulnerable to myself and honest with myself and do a lot of self reflection and accountability and apologizing to myself and other people because in my toxicity, I hurt a lot of people. So once I started healing and becoming a better version of myself, it's almost like there was a veil lifted. And I was seeing like I would say like the carnage of of my actions. So I just feel like I'm just grateful that the veil was lifted and I got to the point to where enough was enough. I guess it was rock bottom and I'm just glad I got to that point and made a change because there's so many people that are there now and might not make a change or don't know how. So I'm just grateful that I was, able to do that and come up out of that and be a better version of myself.
Absolutely. And I can I'm I'm thinking about something in particular today. And I tell you, today has been interesting, but I had someone else to reach out to me today. And I would say I've had some toxic moments myself where you're just kind of operating with someone, not all the time. Because I will say this, some people that you deal with, it don't bring out no toxicity in you because they're not moving in a way that makes you. But then some people, whether you like them, whether they're family members or friends or co-workers or whatever, I mean, some friendships and stuff just it brings out that in you, and then it's like you're trying to figure out why, what is going on. But I noticed when I was listening to I listened to another podcast today, Dear Future Wifey. I love watching Latarius.
I
And
like that podcast too.
I love it because he
Actually
he
do.
I mean, his the people that come on his show, I'm always in awe at some of the things that those people have went through and just how they feel about stuff. And it's just kind of like healing. So I love that platform that he has created. I like how he's so openly about his life and things like that. But one of the things that his guest said on there just today is that when you're meeting people, you meet people as you are. So
Right.
it's like if you toxic or if you struggling, whatever, that's exactly what it is that you're gonna attract. So basically it's like you're mirroring each other. And when the lady said that, I can agree. I could think about a moment, a situation, and just say, you know what, she is so right. It's until you start to do the work and start to heal yourself is when you start to attract different people in your life. And so that's one of the things that I am learning
Mm.
and
I'm a
just
testament
kind of
to that.
really,
Yes.
yeah,
Hmm.
it makes a difference.
Yes,
It's
it
like
does.
a whole light bulb went off,
And then you
you know.
wonder why did this light bulb go off a whole lot sooner?
What? I'm talking about, yes.
What was I
Absolutely.
doing all this time?
Right. Absolutely. I think we can save ourselves heartache. Some friendships we probably wouldn't even get into. Sometimes I look back on some things that I may have said or did, and I'm just like, why did I do that? But yeah, I just, again, I don't think people want to admit that we can all, use some work, or that I think most of the conversation that I'm hearing now is where people have had real bad trauma,
Mhm.
in their life for whatever reason that have just shaped them. And it's just some things that we have to work through. And I always think of myself as I had a very good child life. I don't really, I can't really think of some trauma, but I'm still operating on some stuff where I know I have been traumatized by some things, but I haven't really got to the root of what it is. But I do know that there are some things that I could think about and know that okay, maybe it's because of that. But nothing sad. That's why I told you the other day, I think I'm boring. My bio probably be boring,
Girl,
but
mine is like a page turner. You want to get popcorn, like what? Because I lived both lives. I think I
and
had to shape me to be the person that I am today. I feel like your life's experiences are what shape you to be who you are. So I don't think I change any of it. I like to say your mess is what forms your message. So I mean, I live both sides. So I think it helps me to understand everybody. I think if you kind of live in a bubble, then you don't really understand everybody because you only know that bubble, if you know what I
see,
mean.
that's me. I think I've always lived in a bubble.
Right.
So I was sharing with someone today that I always wanted to go to the Air Force, but I didn't because let me say this the right way. Because my dad, he's kind of like wanted me right there close, you know. And so I think that the fear of me going away, being away from him or being in another state, um, made me not leave. And
Okay.
so
So you
and
were
so
a daddy's
sometimes I
girl.
think, huh?
You were a daddy's girl.
Oh, absolutely. To
I
today, my
was
daddy
too.
is.
I was too, girl.
I
I
love my
was
daddy.
too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it just make you not do some things that you. So I feel like I haven't lived a little, maybe.
I kind
Well,
of
I take that
rebelled, so
back.
I did. I kind of rebelled, so I did.
Oh, wait a minute now, hold on. I did some rebelling, trust me.
I did a little bit of rebelling, so I did live a little.
I'm not squeaky clean, but I don't know. I wasn't a problem child, but still, you know, I did some things. I can remember this one time where I had just started driving. And so me and one of my cousins, we told our parents that we were going to go to the drugstore to buy fingernail polish. We was like, oh, we want to go buy us some fingernail polish. It was probably about like 11:30. We were like 19 or whatever. And so they was like, okay. And so yeah, we went to the drugstore, but then I was like, okay, girl, let's just ride by the club. We're just gonna ride by. And so we did. And then once we got there, I saw this guy from high school and he called my name. And so I stopped and then we got out the car and we're just talking. And this was one of those clubs back in the day where it was known for them to shoot, have some,
Mm,
just a lot of activity afterwards. And
right.
it used to be in front of a old Sears parking lot. And I never forget, they started shooting. And by this time, everybody is running. My cousin is running. And one of the things that she said that I said as I'm running, I said, oh Lord, my dad is gonna kill me if I get shot. And and as I was running, I fell. And then this guy, he was helping me. I didn't know him, but he basically just kind of picked me up. But he was running with me, but he was kind of dragging me all at the same. It was like he got me up and he was just dragging. So it was a mess. So by the time I got home, blood is everywhere. Blood is in the car. Blood is on me. And I
Mm,
messed my little arm. I still got this little mark on my arm right now from falling into the parking lot and all
mm,
this broken glass just because I wanted to go do something that was really not approved and got too far away from my car and and
right.
so yeah, just
Mm,
but it could have been different, because it was gunshots everywhere. So I'm thankful that I
right.
didn't get shot because I mean, it was a a lot of shots in that parking lot.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know why I told that story, but yeah.
Girl, I have a whole bunch of those types of stories. I was a rebellious. First of all, I was rebellious because I was upset at my mother. My father took me from my mother when I was 4 years old and raised me by himself till I was 25.
Okay.
So I was just angry. Like I was angry. I felt like my mother didn't want me. And so I just rebelled and I took it out on, pretty much I really took it out on bullies. Like I used to, when I was in school, I used to fight the bullies because I
Okay.
couldn't because I couldn't take my anger out on who I wanted to, which was my mother, because I was mad at her. I used to just fight bullies.
Hmm. Okay.
I
Some
wanted
days
to
I'll be
punch
sure.
on somebody. I wanted to punch on somebody. So why not you? Since you're over here, messing with people and you making people feel helpless, then I'll make you feel the same way.
Okay. That's making me think of some stuff like I used to do. I wouldn't say I was a bully, but I probably have bully tendencies.
See, I didn't like that. So that was like, I was just angry.
I'm just
I was
thinking
just
about myself.
angry. I was an
I'm probably
angry
going to
young
cut that
lady.
out.
I was an angry young lady.
Nothing's wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with that. Look, your
And then my
fiance.
dad, and then my dad was a single man. And it was like all the women that he would get with, I'd like to say now that I'm grown and I've gone through my healing and I'm in a better place, I'd like to say that they were toxic and they were unhealed. Because as a grown woman, how can you come into a man's life and see a little girl that doesn't have a woman figure and you don't feel the need to plant any seeds in this little girl who's going to one day be a woman? Like you just
Right.
tolerated me to be with my father and reap the benefits of what my father could offer you because my
Mm.
father was a retired police officer. We lived in a 4-bedroom house. It was just him and I. We did rodeos, so we had horses in the backyard. So, women looked at my father as like, oh, he got money. I realize that
Absolutely.
now. As a kid,
Hmm.
I didn't realize it as much, but now I realize it. And so these women knew how my father felt about me. So they knew that they had to at least be cool with me to be able to be cool with him. So they tolerated me to be around him, but I just feel like as a woman coming into a little girl's life, how could you not impart anything into this little girl? As an adult, when you come into a single parent's life, I'd like to say if you're not going to leave those children's lives any better than they were when you got there, then you shouldn't even come in because a lot of times you make it worse. And that's
Right.
speaking from someone who's had to unpack childhood trauma.
Mm. And I don't think people really think about that too. When you're bringing people around your kids, you have to be very careful because most of the time they're really there for your parent and not you. And so yeah, I don't. Ain't nobody. Well, no, we're not meeting the kids.
But I mean, I don't fault my father because I understand he's a man raising a little girl. He didn't know anything about raising a little girl. When I got my period, I know he felt so embarrassed. He didn't know what to do. He went to the store, bought a bag of pads, gave me the bag. I was like, I think there's some directions on there. So I could have been putting them all wrong for years. Who knew? But it was just I felt like he was trying to find a mother figure for me. So
Right.
I mean, I understand his motives, but he was still thinking with the little head. So, I don't think he was thinking about, character and morals and things like that. So, it's just something to think about when you're single and you're, dating.
Right. Yeah, that goes on today. I am a single parent. I'm divorced. Of course, they know that. And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that no one has never been around my children when they were smaller, yeah, but I just don't let anyone around my kids because it's just not that anything happened or anything. It's just as you grow and learn, you're just like, no, I don't. They don't need to know anything like that.
It's not that serious
So yeah.
unless it's that serious.
Right, right. And I think that you need to I think you need to establish a relationship with somebody first before you bring them around the kids or anything like that. And just know that the
I
person's
do
going to be there.
too.
Because sometimes children get that hurt, whereas they're looking for that person to stay in their life. And then when they break up, then you got to break up with the kid too. And so then they're hurt because they're like, oh, okay, Miss Todd don't come around anymore. She's so fabulous and she's such a
Right. And then just
good.
think about the abandonment issues that child already has from the parent not being there, like father, mother, whatever. And then now you come in their life as their parent's significant other. And then you guys, have whatever you fall out. And then now that's another abandonment issue that you've dropped on a child. Like, I don't
And
think as adults we think about that when we're dating. And, a lot of us are selfish. We're thinking about our needs and all of that. I understand. But I just would like to, ask people to think about the children a little bit when we're making these decisions, because we don't just break up with the people, the children do too.
right.
They're already having abandonment issues because you're raising them by yourself. So depending on how you move, I'm not judging anybody, but depending on how you move, how many different people have come and gone, and these children have become attached to them, and now this is another person abandoning you. And then how does that form their relationship, or well, actually, how does that form their vision of that person or that opposite sex when they get older?
And I always say, kids are smarter than you think they are.
They know
And
everything.
you really don't have to tell kids anything. Kids will form their own opinions, whether they're forming them around about their parents or the other person. It goes both ways. I mean, so that's one thing I don't think that people understand. You can't sure. So if you're a male, um, you have to be careful how you bring women in and out. If you are caring, because you are showing them that it's okay, and then you don't want to do that. And then when you're a woman, your daughters, you have to be respectful to yourself, because you have to understand that your daughter or your son is looking, and believe it or not, our kids, they judge us. I mean,
They watch
they will
everything. They know everything.
watch, they
Like,
judge us.
okay, what about those women who like they bring the men around and they're like, "Oh, this is your uncle such and such. This is your uncle such and such." You think your kids don't know that their grandma only has two sons?
Right.
Like, come on, let's stop playing with these kids like they don't know what's going on. And then these kids in this generation are way smarter than kids of the past.
You know what? You are so right, because I know my youngest, she told me that the kids look me up on social media. They look, they looked up her dad. Basically, like kids, they will look up your parents. And so because that some of the kids that been going to school with her, they already knew what I looked like from just coming to the school for different little stuff. So it was easy for them to find me. And so and they'll like ask to be my friend. I, click on little kids sometime from Instagram. I just be like, okay, yeah, whatever. And didn't even know that someone was, they actually knew my daughter. So and then she was like, yeah, they look you up. So yeah, kids are very smart.
Mhm. Yeah, and they
All they
really
do is
do too. So we need to be careful what we putting out there to the world. And like the kids are gonna see that. Like, do you want your kids to be ostracized and teased for your actions and the things that you're doing? And I'm saying that to a lot of these women who are out here doing too much in these streets and in these social media streets.
right.
I'm
I'm
just
gonna
saying
think.
the kids have all of these social medias, and like you just said, it's easy to find people, so they look you up and they'll be teasing your kids at school about stuff you're doing.
Oh, yeah. I would say it's, what do they say? 6 degrees in every person. Like you just never know. I
Six
know
degrees of
that
separation.
that's it. Um, my baby girl, she had one of her classmates had passed, and we went to the funeral, and I actually knew the kid's grandmother because I had worked with her. So
See?
it was just like never knew, but yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
And then also, and even the same, the incident, this girl that I grew up with and I worked with, the little boy ended up being her cousin. So as we were at the grave site, and then I looked back and I saw her, and she was like, "Yeah, this is my cousin." I was like, "Wow." I mean, it's
Right.
the world is just so small. Like everybody be knowing someone, so it was just like
Mhm.
not just one person, but I knew two different people that just from somebody that she knew.
Right. That's how it goes.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay, so let's talk about. I do want to go back to your podcast, and because I'm just so intrigued with your platform, and just looking on your Spotify, because you're on Spotify. So
Yes.
just tell me about it. So I know that you're on Spotify and you are uploading to YouTube as well.
Yes, I do audio and visual. So the audio goes on Spotify. I also am on a live broadcasting network called Glacier FM. So they
Hmm.
play my episodes live every Saturday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So
Okay.
I I really I like doing the just the audio by myself. I don't really do the video by myself. I only do the video when I do like an interview.
Okay. And which one do you like the best? Do you like when you're in an interview, or do you like when you're by yourself?
I like them both for different reasons, but I would kind of probably like to say I like by myself best.
You know what? I'm gonna say when I liked you by yourself, and because it just seems like I can just see the value. I can see the work, and like I'm really in tune and I'm listening. So that was one of the things that I noticed. I watched the video as well, and I thought your the people that you had on was good too, and I liked the conversation that you had. But to me, I just love when you were by yourself, because it just seems like it just picked up so much of your personality, and how how you spoke. I can just like feel your passion, and when you're talking about your herbs, and like your herb of the day. So those were some of the things that I loved about the podcast, because I was able, each episode I was able to take something away from it, saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to use this. I want to try this. And I think it was your second episode when you were giving those 7 steps. What was that title?
Which one was it? Was it self care?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I love that episode, because that's something that that's just one of those things that I'm working on right now myself, is self-discovery, self-care, just kind of, loving on you. Because I think that we all have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Love us, love, just take care of ourselves in a way, like love on yourself.
Yeah, I agree. When you're on the plane, most of us have been on a plane. So when the stewardess is, telling you the exits are here and exits are there, and they tell you oxygen for you first, that's you should use that and incorporate that in your life. Oxygen for me first. If I'm not breathing, I can't be any good for anybody else. So you have to take care of you and make sure that you're good before that you can be good for anybody else. So I really am an advocate for self-love and self-care.
Right. So what would you tell like a young woman who is trying to find her way?
Um, First of all, I would tell her that she needs to align herself with people that are moving in the direction that she'd like to move in. I feel like a lot of times we align ourselves with the wrong people and they don't line up with our goals and our values. And then we find ourselves veering off of the path, stopping to smell the daisies. Excuse me. So I would definitely tell her to align herself with, positive people. And if you've been around toxicity or negativity, take yourself far away from those type of people or those types of things, because it's just going to continue to drag you down as you're trying to better yourself. So that would be the first thing I would suggest.
Right. So okay, so like how do people reach out to you, for you to be their life coach?
Um, but I just recently decided I wanted to turn it into a business and make it full scale. So a lot of
Mhm.
times it's just word of mouth, or it's funny. A couple of times I've been like commenting on YouTube videos, and then someone would just comment under the video.
I can't hear you. Oh, it went out.
My apologies. I think
Oh,
it
that's
said it was muted. So I would comment under like a YouTube video, and then someone would say, I'd really like to speak with you. So under one, I said, go ahead and reach out. And I gave my email. So I spoke with
okay.
that young lady for about 6 months. And then I got an email that brought me to tears, like, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate you. But the internet is forever. So that same video is out there. So I'll still get, responses from that video from like 4 years ago. And my email is on there. So I just get random emails sometimes like, hey, I saw the video and, I saw that you spoke with, this young lady. Can I speak with you? And I've just decided that when the spirit tells me to do something, I'm just obedient. So, if somebody comes to me, I'm always willing to help somebody.
Right, absolutely. And that's how I am. One of the things that I wanted to do is that I want to I was looking at it today. I want to become a mental health advocate. So I'm going to go through some little classes. It's free online because I want to get a certificate. Just to, that's what I want to do. I want to do that and just help others. I'm just learning as I am maturing that I just want to be of service as well to people. I mean, that just gives me joy to help other people. I've always been like that, always, saying an encouraging word to people, always sharing my faith and stuff like that. I just feel that it's just part of my purpose in life. And so I also want to, explore more of that, just kind of, helping people to find their purpose and just helping people who struggle with anxiety, depression, things like that. So
Because
that's
all of that is real.
yeah, absolutely. I
Mm.
mean, mental health, um,
And we need to address it more in our community because it's like a taboo.
yeah. I was talking to a lady, she shared some things and said she wanted to come on my show, but we were talking about mental health just today. So it's something that it's in all communities,
I
definitely
have
in
an
ours.
episode I'm
And
going to do about it too.
hmm,
I have an episode I'm going to do about it too.
yeah, that's a issue, a
Yes.
topic that definitely is worth talking about, learning about, and helping others to, to get through with that.
And to change our mentality in the community about it and not pass judgment. Because a lot of people are scared to seek help because they're going to be judged about it.
Now that's true. Real talk right there. I mean, absolutely. And I think that's the part of it. It's like people get um I saw an incident on Facebook and I knew the person. Um it was someone I met in college, a young person, and she was having a spat with her husband, and she took to social media to talk about it.
Mm.
And I could tell right then that something just wasn't right. But in that the post, the person husband tried to shame them because they had to take anxiety pills.
Mm.
And but what I did like about the post is that so many people came to her rescue and, just saying, so what? And who don't take them? Because it was kind of like he tried to shame her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's nothing to be ashamed of. And I just love that it was men on there, women on there that was just speaking on her behalf because they knew
That's
her.
beautiful.
They was telling her, don't even worry about that. And then she just admitted, yeah, I do take, you know, And I remember reaching out to her, and she reached out, back and just said she had been going through a lot. But that's it right there, where people know some things about you, and then they want to use it against you, when they
Mhm.
mad. And
Mhm.
I didn't like that at
That's
all.
beautiful that you reached out to her, though. I think as, elders, we need to do a lot more reaching out to the younger women. Like that's what I kind of I help everybody and I love everybody, but I'm speaking more to the younger women because I feel like they need more guidance and I feel like a lot of the elders aren't giving them the guidance that they need. So if I could create this podcast where you can tune in and listen to this mother figure, this auntie, that auntie who used to go sit and, she give us the game. Like we need more of those. We don't have enough of those. And I just feel like if I could create a space where young ladies can come listen and learn some things and try to incorporate it into their lives and be better versions of themselves, then that's what I want to do because we are raising the future. And I need us to care a little bit more about the future. And that starts with caring about us first.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I'm sorry, I got distracted here.
It's
So one
okay.
of the things that I like to do on the show is like I like to talk about what I'm thankful for. Um, I didn't. I got out of sequence. Okay. All right. I'll take that out too. I don't know what happened here. Oh, I just didn't read it right. Okay, my bad. I'm gonna take that out. Okay, so I have enjoyed our time together. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks to Mikey for sharing her story. One of the things that I like to do is that I like to end every episode with a gratitude statement. And Mikey, you can go first and just tell us what are you thankful for?
Okay, so I definitely like to have little quotes and words of encouragement. So I got one prepared for you. Um, so this quote is be grateful for your struggles because they made you the person you are today. So one thing I can definitely say I'm grateful for is my children. Um, for one, my children, me seeing the way my toxicity was affecting my children was the main thing that made me change and look to being a better version of myself. And just the way my children love up on me and encourage me and the woman that they see me as, just striving to be that woman and striving to make them proud. I'm just grateful for them. They're like
Absolutely.
my driving force. So I'm grateful for my children.
Absolutely. Well, I am thankful for good health. I mean, each day I wake up and I'm not in pain. So
Mhm.
I am so thankful for that. And then I'm also just thankful for my family. Everybody's right now is still accounted for. And I'm just, you know, thankful for that. And so that's just what I wanted to, say is that. So that's just, when I think about that, that means a lot to me just to have those moments with my family.
Mhm.
So I hope this conversation encouraged personal growth by discovering the why behind the work of extraordinary minds. I challenge all our listeners to explore self discovery. It is a great tool to begin healing and develop personal growth. As always, I like to end, I said it in reverse. I had it there. All right. So also, Mikey, let's let everybody know how to follow you. So tell everybody how they can follow you on social media.
Okay, so I don't really have any social medias for my platform or any of that, but you can find me on Spotify, YouTube, and again GlacierFM.com, and it's Tell Your Friends with Mikey, Myche.
All right. All right, you can follow me on TikTok and Facebook as Tot Carter and Ivy Tot 10 on Instagram. If you enjoy our show, please subscribe, rate, and review us on YouTube. Until next time, this is the one and only Tot Carter, a podcast that reveals how extraordinary people get shaped by their purpose. Hmm. Do you know what your purpose is? Good night, everybody.
Bye.